Welcome to The Glitter Effect, a podcast dedicated to shining a light on the movers, shakers, changemakers, and all-round living legends of our communities who are making a real difference. Today, I'm so excited to be joined by someone who truly embodies what the Glitter Effect is all about by spreading connection, kindness, and purpose through action. Jane Bourne, together with her partner Ian, are the founders of, I forgot how to say it now, Kiama. I just got myself in a Kiama. Let's
But
start
you
over.
panicked.
I panicked. I'm going to write it there. I had it, and then I've just second guessed it. Right, we'll say it again. Today, I'm so excited to be joined by someone who truly embodies what the Glitter Effect is all about by spreading kindness, connection, and purpose through action. Jane Bourne, together with her partner Ian, are the founders of Kiama Unplugged. They have created a movement in their hometown in New South Wales of Kiama that encourages people to put down their phones, step away from their screens, and rediscover the magic of genuine face-to-face connection. From simple games to shared conversations and music, Kiama Unplugged is all about bringing people back to the moment. This movement is reminding us that joy and belonging often live in the simplest interactions. Jane and Ian's passion for community and their belief in the power of presence is nothing short of inspiring. I can't wait to share this story with you. Jane Bourne, welcome to The Glitter Effect.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy you could make time for us. I'm so excited. I stumbled across this initiative and you, and I think things happen for a reason, right? Can you please tell us a little bit more? I know I gave a very, very brief introduction there. Give me a little bit of brief introduction about what is Kiama and where is it for those that don't know, and what exactly is Kiama Unplugged and how did it come about?
Sure. So Kiama is a small coastal town about 90 minutes south of Sydney, famous for our blowhole. And it mainly families and retirees probably makes up majority of our community. There's no, I'm going to close the door and do that again because
Okay,
it's playing from my side.
that's all right.
My husband just got home and clearly just started to bang and crash.
I
Okay,
could not hear it.
So Kiama is a small coastal town about 90 minutes south of Sydney, famous for the blowhole. That's what most people know it for.
Yep.
So mainly made up of retirees and young families would probably be the main demographic.
Yep.
And yeah, a big tourist destination as well. And how Unplugged came about many of us. I've been reading a lot of the evidence coming out about the problems that have been caused by smartphones
Mm.
in everyone, but particularly young people. I read Johann Hari's Stolen Focus, Jonathan Haidt's Anxious Generation.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me to a point where I just thought I can't give my 12-year-old a smartphone just because he goes to high school.
Yep.
Now, our children at that point were 3 and 6, so this was a long way off.
Mm.
But I felt very strongly I do not want the internet to have access to my 12-year-old. And I felt that change takes time. We need to start having conversations with other parents of children of similar age, but also I want to help whoever. So if we can help other families, whose kids are older make these decisions for their children and with their children, then that's great. So that's how it started.
Mm.
Yeah, very much kind of about kind of almost like a phone pledge and delaying smart became just as much about community and in real life experiences for people of all ages. We know the World Health Organization has called loneliness a health pandemic. So I
Mm.
think the more we can do to connect with people, the better.
Yeah, that's good. And I love it. I'm actually a mother of three boys, 15, 14, and 11-year-old, and two at high school. And yeah, I totally get it. It's all consuming and it's quite frightening actually. We have quite a big hold on it, but still not enough, I don't think. But compared to some families, we're considered quite strict and we still have a very strict amount of time that they're allowed on each day and everything, but I know it's very different for each family. But it worries me, which is why I really love what you're doing. So explain a little bit more about what this initiative is and what you're doing in your community spread that throughout your community?
Yeah, so when we first kind of came up with it, we just started talking to local parents at our son's primary school to see how they felt about the idea, if it's something that they would support. And we got some really positive response. And our first couple of events were adult only events.
Yep.
So they were events just at a local pub. We brought board games and Lego and things, but it was really just about connecting and starting to have these conversations with well, not just parents, but adults in our community to see if it's something they like the idea of, there was a need for.
Mm.
So that's how it began. We then did pause for it for a while, and then we kind of came back with more events earlier this year. So we started doing a monthly, first Sunday of the month, family-friendly event at a place called Finding Fillmore's. So we take along art and game define them when they're there, and then everyone can just kind of choose to play the games or do some art or just chat, or and people of all ages come to that, some people with kids, but also people without as well. So that's been a really positive event. We do a weekly like book hour or creative hour, another local business chin chin. So that's every Thursday 4 till 5. People are encouraged to bring their book, their knitting,
Yeah.
their colouring along, and just have a really lovely hour. And what we find happens is most people start reading or doing their knitting for maybe 15 minutes, and then they just start chatting and making
Yeah.
connections with other people. So that's been a really lovely weekly event. We had our first ever spring walk just recently. So we brought 25 families together,
Oh,
mainly
wow.
with young children.
Yep.
And we just did like a little bit of a bushwalk, and we gave them nature bingo and magnifying glasses and little paper bags to collect. Met back and had morning tea, and we had nature crafts. We brought like string and glue and paper with us, and so then everyone was just kind of encouraged to create something. And that was with a local education group, Grounded Education, who supported us with that one. So
Excellent.
yeah, so we have our monthly, our weekly, and then kind of our different events now as well. So in a couple of weeks we're having our first kind of event where we're going to talk about the phone pledge and delaying smartphones. So
Mm.
we're advertising that throughout the community, local primary schools and the high school.
Yep.
And we're just going to a bit of an informal chat with people about the reasons we're suggesting it, what the evidence is, the reasons why, some testimonials of families who have delayed.
Yep.
And then there'll be a chance for questions, and then we're hoping people will kind of pledge to do that delay.
Yeah, great. And when did you start all this, Jane?
So our first event.
I've lost you, Jane. I
So yeah,
lost
so we've
you
been
then.
running properly for just over a year, I would say.
So just over a year. Okay, that's good. So this was
Mm,
after, dare I say, COVID, and so because it just got me thinking. Throughout COVID, particularly in Melbourne, we had a few more lockdowns than you did up your way.
mm,
But for us, the importance of connection was the forefront of everyone's mind. And then, of course, as with everything, we're all back to where we were, and life's gone busy again, and people are forgetting that human contact and that living in the moment was so good for everybody in some ways. Obviously there were downsides to it too, being in isolation, but there were so many good things. So that's why something like this I think is really important, to bring it to the forefront. But it takes a lot of energy and effort to get people on board, and it's a slow burn, right? What have you done, and what partnerships have you formed with people? You were saying you've gone to a local cafe. How easy has it been to get people to jump on board, or to be part of it and partner with you, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. It does take a lot of time and effort. My husband Ian and I are both so passionate about it. And we've had some great local support from businesses. So, I mentioned some of them there, Finding Fillmore's, Chin Chin, they're both like local restaurants. Grand Education, which is a local outdoor kindy. A local designer printer, Known Designs, has done our logo and our t-shirts and things.
Yep.
So we have had some really lovely support. We're currently working with Kiama Village, which is where our Woolworths is, and other stores, because they've agreed to put a public piano in there, which is
Oh,
another of our
wonderful.
initiatives.
Yeah.
So we've sourced a piano for free. We've got a music teacher that says she'll tune it for free and even do some free lessons.
Lovely.
The T's and dotting the I's on that. Because we're so excited about getting that in there and what that'll mean for that space. And again, those kind of impromptu gatherings people might have, or just for someone just to sit at a piano and play is
Mm,
so good for them. So yeah, we have had some really, I'd say, really positive support. I think obviously there's always going to be people who um, perhaps think that that ship has sailed and it's too late for what we're doing. But we're fighting against that, and we're saying we don't agree, and we think we can make this change
mm.
with the support of our community.
Yeah, and look, and I think you're right because I have an interest in that sort of that teen space. And are there any at the moment you're saying you've got the younger families, which is great. And I think, I look at my 11-year-old now and I feel like I have far more control now, particularly with the law coming in with the social media ban and more noise being made around social media and everything. And I feel like we've got more clout to be able to know that he's not going to have the same access that my older
Sorry.
two had,
Oh,
for example. Are you there? Um,
yeah, sorry, pause. I was just checking.
oh,
Sorry.
that's okay. And but so how have you thought about how you can actually then attract that older age group? Because it's very
Yeah,
different,
absolutely.
isn't
It's a
it? And it's
real
hard age group.
it's a much harder age group for us to get into, and especially because we don't have children that age, it
Mm,
is very much a focus point of ours. We've met recently with a high school teacher to chat with
yeah,
him, and
great.
he's also involved in Duke of Edinburgh, which is a really great initiative, I think, for young people.
Yep,
Our plan is we're going to open up for a youth advisory board. We
great.
want we don't want to tell young people what they want and need because it's been a while since I was a teenager.
Yeah,
Um, so we want to ask them and then help them get that. So one will be a youth advisory board. Another one, we're just gonna, at the local surf club, hopefully the next few weeks, we're just gonna put on some pizzas and ask them to come along,
yeah,
for a free feed. And then we're just gonna kind of pick their brains and ask them what they want, what would work for them.
yeah,
Because there's no point me coming up with an idea that I think works for a 15-year-old because it'll be wrong.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
that's definitely a market that we're not getting into as much as we'd like to. We do get teenagers coming to the family events and sitting and playing like Scrabble or
yeah.
chess with their family, which is lovely. But it's the younger families we're getting more of. So that's got to be our next focus.
Yeah. Well, it's I mean it's what you're doing. You're doing a lot in a short space of time. So, that will come. What's been one of your proudest moments to date about the initiative that made you
There's been
realize
a
that this
few,
has
I
legs?
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a few. So it's always great when we hear, obviously, parents or adults say it's really made them think about their own phone use
Yep.
and them putting positive changes around that. That's great. Or events like, oh, great, it's unplugged next week, and that's lovely. Um, Maggie Dent, the mother of Australia,
Mm,
she shared one of our posts, which was incredible that she'd heard about us and also that she put her support behind us. And that
yep.
really helped us get some traction and get some kudos. Um, and then now it's the fact that we are being contacted by people all over Australia asking us to help them do something similar. So that's been a super proud moment that this has legs and we are going to grow it.
That was going to be my next question, actually. Have there, because I think I saw on a post recently, there's another unplugged someone with another t-shirt, another area. Was that? Yeah. So you've
Yes,
obviously,
very
uh,
yes.
are you using it as sort of like a franchise type of thing, or is it just saying
Yes.
people can go and do what they want? This is what we've done, or talk me through that.
No, we ideally we want people to do it. We believe we have more power as one brand because people start to recognize it, they know what you stand for. So we're more likely to be able to make bigger change.
Yep.
And also, why reinvent the wheel? We can all learn from each other. So we can share what other people have done. We can, share with each other. So that's the reason. So when people started asking us, we were like, oh, wow, okay. So let's get our ducks in a row and we'll be back to you. And so we kind of formed some guidelines, which are on our website, Australia Unplugged website, to say, what setting up a group means.
Yep.
And there's very few boundaries. We're not trying to be controlling.
No.
But things like phone free, at least some events must have no cost. We don't want cost being an impact for people.
Yep.
And supporting your community people and businesses.
Yep.
They're kind of our only real rules. So yeah, people kind of, if they go ahead, they can message us. It's all on the website, and then we send them back a bit more information. They sign an agreement, and then we get them their logo. We put them on our website. And they can kind of go off and be as creative as they want. So yes, Berry, it's just only like 20 minutes further down the coast from us. So they were our
Yep.
first one.
Yep.
So that was great. That's nice and easy. And now our next one, Canberra Unplugged, is our next one. They've come
Oh,
on, they've signed the agreement. So
amazing.
they're super keen, chomping at the bit. And then we've had inquiries from other areas, from Hobart, from Brisbane,
Mm,
parts of like Torquay in Victoria. So we're just waiting to see kind of how
what
they move
happens there?
forward.
Well, I am part of my local council's sport and recreation advisory committee, and I raised you guys in one of our last meetings, and I know they're looking into it. So I'll follow that up with them as well, because I think something like that. I think what you're doing is great. It sounds simple, but sometimes it's the simple things, isn't it, that make the biggest impact. And so
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, doesn't have to be complicated.
no, and that's exactly what
So
it's going back to basics, isn't it? Which is we always say to our children, this is how we grew up. We had nothing. Shops were shut at lunchtime on a Saturday, and the TV wasn't on after whatever time it shut off. We didn't have the ability. So we had to make our own fun. So it's just sort of reminding and allowing them that freedom. And this is what we say to our boys, is that you can do that. Nothing's going to happen if you don't reply now, or you don't see what everyone's doing, or it's just got a grip. And but
Mhm.
on that, and you're not saying technology is bad, you're just encouraging more intentional use, right?
Absolutely. Army knife. Like the Swiss Army knife is really, really useful in lots of different ways, but you don't need to use it 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
So our phones, GPS, I would be literally lost without my GPS.
Yeah.
Online banking, being able to send a work email. There are some great things about phones, but we've got to be its master, not its servant. So if you've got all these notifications and they're constantly pinging at you and grabbing your attention, well, then that's your phone is ruling you. Whereas
Mm,
if you turn all of those off and even like treat it like a landline when you're at home, plug it in, put it somewhere. So if it rings for work, whatever, you can go and answer it, but you're not being distracted all the time by it.
mm,
And then just have a few rules in place. So we have no phones at the dining room table, we have no phones on the sofa,
yeah.
and we don't fub. So if we are, let's say I'm on my phone doing a work email, which is reasonably common,
Yeah.
and give mummy 2 minutes and then you'll have my full attention.
Yeah.
Or if it's not urgent, I'll put my phone down and I will look my child in the eye and they can tell me whatever it is they tell me. I think, we've become very rude as a society,
Yeah.
and because we can do two things at once, we think we should. Whereas
Yeah.
actually, asking for your coffee whilst not looking at your phone and engaging with your barista is a lot more polite than kind of, talking at somebody whilst also
Yeah.
being distracted. So I think it's definitely about intentional use, about thinking how it can make your life better, but not about spending 4 5 whatever hours doom scrolling,
Yeah.
going down rabbit holes and things.
Yeah. And on that, I know that you guys followed it as well. And I've just recently, I'm going to be talking with Wayne Holdsworth, who is the founder of Smack Talk.
Mm.
And he has an initiative because obviously his 17-year-old son took his life, having got himself down a rabbit hole with sextortion. That was 2 years ago. And so he had an initiative called Unplugged 24, which happened at the end of October. And that sort of thing would, and I think it's just bringing to the forefront that, these things are happening, and you're not exempt. It's
Oh,
not.
you're back.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, sorry, I missed all of that question. So you want to start
That's
from
okay.
about the smack
Yeah,
talk question,
that's
and then
okay.
yeah.
So, I'm talking to Wayne Holdsworth, who is the founder of Smack Talk, which is an initiative or an organization that he set up in memory of his son Mac, who unfortunately took his own life at the age of 17, having been involved in a sextortion thing on his phone. And so his father's taken that sort of his pain and made it into created a purpose to try and help others. But I think, and that Unplugged 24 was the initiative that they just did at the end of October. And I think, with this sort of thing, and it's encouraging people to unplug. And I think what you're doing, there's so much more noise in this space. And it's that adage, isn't it? The more noise you make, it's that slow burn, it will get there. And then we've got the new regulations coming in. Do you think we're making enough headway in your mind? Do you think we could do more as a society? Not wanting to get political, but
I think we probably could do more. Absolutely. I think there's a few things that we could do. Because yeah, there are incredible things happening, and obviously, that yeah, Unplugged 24 is for such a tragic reason, and he's doing something really beautiful to honor his son. And we obviously support that. But I think more can be done. It'll be interesting to see when the change of age that happens
mm,
on the 10th of December, what happens there. It's worrying because you do hear a lot of parents saying they're going to help their kids get around it and work around it. And I think that's really disappointing when you hear that, because that's actually not the best for our children.
yep,
We're trying to protect them. There's that recent campaign that the government have released ahead of the age change, which is kind of, I guess, showing people the reason.
yep,
But I think there could be more in that space. I think we could have public health campaigns about the dangers of social media, of smartphone addiction, and cyberbullying,
mm,
and everything that is happening. The same way that we have one for gambling or for smoking. I think there could be things in there, and I think we can be doing more in schools. Like we could be having, like a healthy Harold, but for
yeah,
for online, learning
yeah,
about online safety, healthy habits online.
mm,
What is healthy and what isn't. I think all of those areas we could definitely be doing more. And then, obviously, cost of living is really difficult for a lot of families. So we can give access to more things for days out for families
yeah,
that aren't going to be expensive. So they can get perhaps a really cheap or free train ride at the weekend to go, and maybe cheap or free access to a museum or something,
yeah,
just to kind of encourage families to do other things,
yeah,
because we are going to have this group of young people who've been spending hours a day for possibly 3 years on things like TikTok, and Snapchat. The 10th of December, they will not have that anymore.
yeah,
And we really need to support them
mm,
in that change, and because they're going to be needing to get that dopamine still.
mm.
And so we're going to have to try and help them, I think, through that.
Yeah, and that's where I have been talking to my boys about that exactly. And I'm just said to them, that's your data could disappear. If you've got any photos or anything, you need to download them, because this is what's going to happen. Your account may not disappear, but for now it will. And that's what should
Hmm.
happen. So be prepared on the 10th, when you wake up on the 10th of December, that you may not be able to communicate how you have been. So now start thinking how you can. And I think, it's just thinking differently. And this is what we always go back to, how we had to talk to our friends on the house phone. And if you were really rich, you had a phone that was like, you could take off and walk around the house with it. But I never had one of those. I had to sit behind a door and have to talk to whoever it was on the phone in front of my family. And I think that's that element of, you're a child, there's no secrets, there shouldn't be any.
Mm.
um
Yeah, yeah,
that's
absolutely.
just
There
me.
shouldn't be. Yeah, as a child, I agree. And then there are a lot of good resources. So the E-Safety Commission, and also I know that Headspace
Yeah,
have got some really good kind of tips for young people who are going to lose access on the 10th, to think about how they want to kind of make sure they've backed up maybe photos, that
yeah,
they perhaps have phone numbers or email addresses for friends that they talk to online. Just, yeah, some really good tips to help prepare them, because we don't want it to suddenly be the 10th of December, we haven't helped them think about it, and they've just
yeah,
maybe lost all of this, content, or connections that are important to them.
Yeah, and that's right. And it's just having to learn a new way, isn't it? And like you
Mm.
say, for a child who, and there are certain children that that's their lifeline. They can't leave the house. So how are we managing that rather than just saying you're not going to have access to it? There's a lot more to it. So, but I do think it's a positive thing. And I think, I do think personally, I think the world is watching to see how we do
Yes,
it.
absolutely. We're the first. I think it's incredible that our government have taken that and chosen
Mm,
to be the first. We are being watched all around the world to see how it goes.
mm.
And I really hope that we can show that it's a positive thing and that other countries follow.
Yeah, which is great. And so if anyone listening now in their community and they have a little like they go, "Oh, we want to this sounds great. We want to do this for our community." What do they do? What's the best thing for them to do? What steps can they take to kick that off?
It's so they want our support and they want to become under the Australia Unplugged umbrella, then they can just go onto our website, and there's a page there about starting a local group. So they can just have a bit of a read through, see if it feels like the right fit for them, and they want to talk to us more. And there's all information there about how to contact us and about how we'll support them if they do form a group. So, we've done a lot of the legwork. So, we'll give them a logo, we'll add them to like a mentoring group for, all the kind of group leaders so we can share ideas. We're very happy, to chat to them, and support them through it, but then also to let them be very creative as well and take it in different ways. And as my husband and I always say, we are not experts. This is
Mm.
not our job. This is very much a voluntary thing at this stage.
Mm.
And so we are learning. And we're very happy and open to other people coming on board at an Australia level or a local level with their expertise. That I'm sure we don't have a lot of them, so they can absolutely share that with us. We want to become a not-for-profit.
Yep.
We're going through the process of applying to become a not-for-profit to give us access to funding, to philanthropy, to
Yeah.
grants, so that we can grow, become a lot bigger and make more change.
Yeah.
But yes.
And you've just answered my next question because that's what I was going to ask. What's the future? What does the future hold for Kiama Unplugged? And that's it. There you go. You're like a mind reader. Now
Okay, I am a mind reader. There you go.
that's what happens when you unplug. See,
Telepathic now.
ESP. So now moving slightly away. So as you know, we're called the glitter effect because I'm a firm believer that everybody has glitter to spread. They just have to find their purpose and then spread it with heart, which clearly you and Ian are doing extraordinarily well in Kiama. Hats off to you and welcome. You can now pop your crown on and wear it with pride. But in order to get to this point, I love this question because everyone's got so many different answers. There's always people who have inspired you to be where you are today and to think the way you think. Who would you say have been your most inspirational glitter kings or queens?
Yeah, look, this is a tricky one because, of course, there are so many, like,
Yeah.
obviously friends, family, community, and beyond out there, the people that inspire us. But I'm going to pick two glitter
Yep.
kings today.
Yep.
So one is one of my best friends, Robin, who sadly died very suddenly over 10 years ago now when he was just 30. Now, he was a beautiful and proud gay man, and he did a huge amount for the LGBTQI plus communities. Um, and I called him my glitter ball boy. So you'll love
Oh,
that. He actually had trousers that were covered in like disco ball
oh,
things.
amazing.
Like they were incredible. He loved to sparkle. And
Yeah.
so when he was, tragically died very young, I kind of feel like he would have done some great things
Yeah.
and he would have really made some positive change. And so I felt that it was my responsibility to share a bit of his sparkle however I can.
Lovely.
So that's one of mine. And then another good friend of mine, Hamish, he actually died very suddenly just a few months ago.
Mm.
Very unexpected also, and it really shook us, my husband and I, and I think it really made us think about time or the lack of it. All we have
Yep.
is time, but we don't know how long we have,
Yep.
and living life, I guess to our values and doing the things that matter most to us and not waiting.
Yep.
And that really kind of put some kind of, I guess, gusto behind Cameron Book at that point because we really like wanted to honor Hamish
Yep.
and the fact that his life had been cut tragically short, and do something really positive, yes, in his memory, and because we don't know what time we have.
Mm.
And down the line, when we do become an NFP, we will have grants in both Robin and Hamish's name
Oh, that's
for
nice.
people to do great things in their communities or beyond around connection. So that's kind of a way for us to continue to share these two incredible men's sparkle, our glitter
Mm.
kings, and keep them alive and make positive change in their name.
How beautiful. What a beautiful soul you are, and Ian. And obviously, I'm a firm believer people attract like-minded people. So there's no surprise people like that have been in your world and continue to touch you and others. And I think what you're doing is absolutely incredible. And my hat goes off to you because you're working, you're a mum, you're holding lots of balls in the air, and you're also trying to do it for others as well. So admirable. And if we had more people like you, the world would be a lot better. Lastly, how can people find out more about Kiama Unplugged? Where do they go?
Yeah, so they can go to Claire Unplugged website. They can go to the Australia Unplugged website. We also have like a WhatsApp announcement group for both of those, so that you don't have to kind of go to social to hear about us. But and we won't bombard you. That's just kind of giving you either events locally or just kind of some key stories that we think are relevant.
Yep.
And of course, ironically, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And yes, we get the irony, but you've got to go to where people are to
That's
bring them
right.
out.
That's it. And
So
everyone
we've got
gets
to go
their
in to get
information
them.
differently.
Yeah.
Got to be
Yeah. We
something for
very much
everybody.
try to kind of cover a lots of bases. Anything
Mm.
local will always have posters and like newspaper articles and things. We never want it to be that you can only hear about us online, because
Mm.
that would be a bit ironic. So
Yeah.
we always kind of go out there on paper as well,
Yeah.
old
Just
school.
just one thing. Do you work with your local council?
We haven't yet, no, but we have a new local MP
Mm.
who just started this month, and she came to our spring walk. She's got
Nice.
a young son, so that's Caitlin McInerney, and so she's already showing support for this, and we're
Fabulous.
hoping to have more communication and conversations with her down the track.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's exciting.
Amazing. Amazing. Jane, thank you so, so much for joining me on the Glitter Effect today and for sharing your absolutely beautiful story. You've really touched me, and just everything you're saying is just pure glitter, and I love it. What you've built with Kiama Unplugged is such a powerful reminder that connection doesn't always need Wi-Fi. Sometimes it just needs a smile, a conversation, and a willingness to be absolutely fully present. You've shown us that when we pause, unplug, and reconnect with each other, we create space for true community, and that's where the real glitter shines. Thank you for sprinkling your glitter across Kiama and beyond. It's been such a joy having you on the podcast today. I wish you and Ian all the very best with what's to come. Please keep in touch, keep sparkling, and all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you for joining me, Kate Ganneil, on The Glitter Effect. If you've loved this episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep showing up, making an impact, and sprinkling that glitter wherever you go. Bye for now.